Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Today we embark on a journey that will challenge your perceptions and perhaps even your taste buds. Today we're tackling a subject of great import, one that has been both a source of fascination and revulsion for many, a culinary curiosity that's both baffling and, dare I say, slightly beak-inducing: eating pigeons. Yes, you heard that right. Those feathered fiends that litter our sidewalks with their droppings, those avian agents of chaos who steal your lunch given half a chance. Some people think we should eat them. Imagine walking down a busy city street, pigeons fluttering around your feet, pecking at crumbs and dodging pedestrians. These birds, often seen as pests, have a history that's as rich and varied as the cities they inhabit. But what if I told you that these same birds, often dismissed as nuisances, have been considered a delicacy in various cultures around the world? Now before you click away in disgust, remember this. Lobsters were once considered the cockroaches of the sea. They were so abundant and undervalued that they were fed to prisoners and used as fertilizer. And we all know how that turned out. Today lobsters are a symbol of luxury, served in the finest restaurants and savored by food enthusiasts worldwide. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to dive headfirst into the wild world of pigeons as a potential food source. From the bustling streets of New York to the historic squares of Paris, pigeons have been both reviled and revered. It's going to be a bumpy, feathery ride. We'll explore the history, the culinary traditions, and the modern-day perspectives on these ubiquitous urban birds. So stay tuned and keep an open mind as we delve into this fascinating topic. Let's address the elephant, or rather the oversized pigeon in the room. They're everywhere. Parks, plazas, parking lots, these feathered dinosaurs have colonized our cities with the tenacity of a particularly persistent weed. They strut around like they own the place, cooing and procreating with reckless abandon. And don't even get me started on the droppings. It's like they're waging a biological warfare campaign against clean sidewalks and unsuspecting statues. Something's gotta give, right? Now before you brand me a monster for even suggesting we eat these winged wonders, let's take a trip down memory lane. Remember the lobster? Once upon a time, it was the pauper of the seafood world, the trash fish deemed fit only for prisoners and desperate times. But then, something magical happened. Marketing happened. Suddenly, this bottom-feeding crustacean was being served on silver platters, dripping in butter and commanding exorbitant prices. The lesson here? Perception is a fickle mistress. What we consider food is often more about cultural conditioning than inherent deliciousness. So can pigeons pull off a lobster-esque culinary comeback? It's a question that's both ridiculous and oddly compelling. On the one hand, you've got the ick factor. I mean, these birds basically eat garbage. They're like flying feathered vacuum cleaners for city grime. Not exactly an appetizing thought. But then, there's the potential environmental impact. Pigeon populations are exploding in urban areas. Maybe eating them could be a form of eco-conscious pest control. A way to cull the flock, so to speak. It's a moral and culinary minefield, folks. Nutritional nuggets or feathered food poisoning. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that we get past the whole eating rats with wings thing. Pigeons, often seen as urban pests, have a reputation that precedes them. But what if we told you that these birds, which are often dismissed as mere nuisances, have a history intertwined with human cuisine? Yes, pigeons have been on the menu in various cultures for centuries. Is there any nutritional value to be found in these feathered friends? Surprisingly, pigeon meat, especially from young pigeons known as squab, is quite nutritious. It's lean, high in protein, and packed with essential vitamins and minerals. In fact, squab has been considered a delicacy in many parts of the world, from ancient Rome to modern-day France. Turns out pigeon meat is actually quite lean and high in protein. This makes it an excellent choice for those looking to maintain a healthy diet. The meat is tender and flavorful, often compared to dark chicken or duck. Chefs around the globe have been known to create exquisite dishes using pigeon, elevating it to gourmet status. It's been a food source for centuries in some cultures. In medieval Europe, pigeon was a common dish, and in Asia it remains a popular choice. Markets in countries like China and Egypt still sell pigeons specifically bred for consumption. These birds are raised in controlled environments, ensuring they are safe and healthy to eat, so it's not like it's inherently poisonous or anything. When sourced from reputable farms, pigeon meat is as safe as any other poultry. The key is knowing where your food comes from and how it was raised. Farm-raised pigeons or squab are bred specifically for their meat, ensuring they are free from diseases and contaminants. Of course, that's assuming we're talking about squab young, farm-raised pigeons bred for consumption. These birds are typically harvested at around 4 weeks old, before they have started to fly, which ensures their meat is tender and flavorful. Squab farming is a meticulous process, with farmers paying close attention to the bird's diet and living conditions. City pigeons, on the other hand, are a different story. These birds, often seen scavenging in the streets and around dumpsters, are exposed to a variety of pollutants and pathogens. Their diet consists of whatever they can find, which is far from ideal for human consumption. Eating a city pigeon is a gamble that most would wisely avoid. Let's just say you'd need a cast-iron stomach and a healthy dose of antibiotics to risk that gamble. The potential health risks far outweigh any nutritional benefits. So, while pigeons can be a nutritious and delicious food source, it's crucial to ensure they come from a safe and reputable source. Stick to farm-raised squab and you might just find yourself enjoying a meal that's both healthy and delectable. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, share your pigeon stories in the comments section. Squab versus city slicker, a tale of two pigeons. There's a world of difference between a plump, corn-fed squab raised in a sanitary environment and a street-smart city pigeon who considers a discarded hot dog a delicacy. One is basically poultry, the other is a walking, flying biohazard. You wouldn't eat a rat that crawled out of the sewer, would you? Don't answer that. The point is, if we're going to even entertain the idea of eating pigeons, and let's be honest, we already are, we need to draw a clear distinction between farm-raised and feral. One might be palatable, the other is just asking for trouble. The ethics of eating you, can we stomach it? Even if we set aside the health concerns and the whole ick factor, there's still the ethical dilemma to consider. Pigeons, often referred to as rats with wings, have a bad reputation in many urban areas. They are seen as pests, nuisances that dirty our streets and spread disease. But is this perception fair? And more importantly, does it justify turning them into a food source? Pigeons, for all their flaws, are living creatures. They have a right to exist just as much as any other animal. They are intelligent birds, capable of recognizing human faces and even understanding abstract concepts. They have been our companions for thousands of years, used as messengers in times of war and peace. They mate for life, they care for their young, they navigate complex social hierarchies. These birds exhibit behaviors that many of us would consider admirable. They are not just mindless creatures fluttering about, they have families, they form bonds, and they contribute to the ecosystem in ways we might not fully understand. Basically, they're just trying to survive like the rest of us. They forage for food, find shelter, and raise their young in the best way they know how. In many ways, their lives mirror our own struggles for survival and comfort. So, when we consider turning them into a food source, we must ask ourselves, are we being fair? Is it right to turn them into food, even if it's to control their population? The idea of eating pigeons might seem repulsive to some, but in other cultures, pigeon meat is considered a delicacy. This raises another ethical question: should cultural differences influence our decisions on what is acceptable to eat? And if so, where do we draw the line? It's a question that doesn't have an easy answer. The ethics of eating animals in general is a complex issue that involves considerations of animal welfare, environmental impact, and cultural traditions. When it comes to pigeons, these questions become even more tangled. Are we willing to overlook their intelligence and social behaviors just because they are abundant and often seen as pests? Maybe we should focus on more humane methods of population control, methods that respect their right to live while addressing the issues they cause in urban environments. There are already several non-lethal methods being explored, such as pigeon birth control, which involves feeding them food treated with a contraceptive. This method has shown promise in reducing pigeon populations without causing harm, like pigeon birth control or creating habitats for birds of prey in urban areas. Birds of prey, such as hawks and falcons, naturally keep pigeon populations in check. By encouraging these predators to live in our cities, we can create a balanced ecosystem where pigeons are kept under control without the need for lethal measures. You know, solutions that don't involve dipping our metaphorical forks into the feathery abyss. In the end, the question of whether we can stomach eating pigeons is not just about our personal tastes or cultural norms. It's about our values, our ethics, and our willingness to find solutions that respect the lives of all creatures, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. Picture this pigeon on a plate, haute cuisine or hard pass? Okay, let's have some fun with this. Imagine for a moment that pigeon meat does become the next culinary craze. What would that look like? Would we see pigeon pot pie on pub menus, pigeon nuggets at fast food joints, pigeon sushi? Okay, that last one's a bit much, even for me. The possibilities are both intriguing and slightly nauseating. It's like a culinary episode of Black Mirror. You're not sure if you should be fascinated or terrified. Feathery future coexistence or crock pot? So, what's the verdict? Will pigeons become the next culinary darling or remain the bane of our urban existence? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, we need to find a way to coexist with these feathered creatures. Whether it's through humane population control, a shift in perception, or maybe, just maybe, a really good recipe. Until then, let's try to avoid stepping in their droppings and maybe refrain from sharing our lunch with them. They're messy enough as it is. Please like, share and subscribe and share your pigeon stories in the comments section.